Report to the Galactic Conference concerning the recovery of the logs of the High Fleet ship Indomitable. As many of you know, contact with the Indomitable was lost 8 cycles ago. Since no Galactic Conference High Fleet ship had ever been lost before, it was assumed that some cosmic event, such as an unexpected supernova or a chance encounter with a quantum singularity, was the cause of her demise. However, with the recovery of her log buoy, it can now be unequivocally confirmed that she was destroyed by a pre-FTL civilization. To those of you hearing this report who find that impossible to believe, it was decided that the only way to deliver this report was to allow her logs to speak for themselves. The following contains not only the captain's logs, but also excerpts from the engineering and security officers. Only log entries associated with the loss of the ship are included in this report. Editor's note: the logs below are relayed exactly as they were recorded by the original crew members. No editing or paraphrasing has been used. The only difference between the original recordings and this report is the removal of routine entries not pertinent to the demise of the Indomitable. A full transcription, including the non-pertinent entries, can be provided upon request. Report follows. Captain's Log, Galactic Year 23784.551. Sensors have detected processed metals in deep space, far from any Galactic Conference outposts. We have set an intercept course to determine the source of our sensor readings. Captain's Log, Galactic Year 2373.53. The source of the sensor readings has been located. It is a primitive sublight probe from a pre-FTL civilization. The probe has been brought on board and examined. Close inspection of the probe has revealed its origin far easier than we would have ever considered possible. Much to our surprise, the beings that launched this probe actually included instructions for finding their home world. Considering the primitive design and construction materials used, it is probable that the probe's origin world is rich in mineral resources and would likely be a fine addition to the Galactic Conference as a resource world. As required by Directive 102, I have established a course to the world that launched the probe. Captain's Log, Galactic Year 2T37803.556. Upon entering the system indicated to contain the origin world of the probe, we first encountered several gas giants of little importance. However, deeper within the system, we encountered an asteroid field rich in minerals that would indicate inner rocky worlds of great mineral wealth. The first rocky world we encountered was a rather uninteresting reddish planet composed mostly of iron and rock. There was no sapient life, or any animal life for that matter. Continuing deeper into the system, we encountered the origin world of the probe. It is a moderately sized world composed of a metallic rock aggregate with approximately 70% of its surface area covered in water. It supports a civilization of approximately 7.5 billion sapient life forms and is known by the indigenous inhabitants as Earth. As is common with most pre-FTL worlds, there is no one ruling government or organization. The world appears to be divided into approximately 200 nation-states. However, closer examination has revealed that 3 to 4 of these nation-states seem to hold great sway over the rest of the planet. With such a sizable population inhabiting such a resource-rich planet, Galactic Conference Directive 102, Section D, would seem to apply. As per Directive 102, we have annexed this world in the name of the Galactic Conference. Communications have been established with the governments of the aforementioned major nation-states. They were informed of the annexation of their world, and that they would be acting as representatives for the rest of the planet. The leaders of these 4 nations have been provided with copies of the Galactic Directives of Civilization, translated into the appropriate indigenous languages, as well as a breakdown of the tribute they will be expected to pay as members of the Galactic Conference. Based on my calculations, when considering their level of technology as well as population density, the tribute worked to approximately 22% of worldwide refined metal output. I informed them that this number was subject to change based on a final ruling from the Galactic Conference Council. As is customary when annexing a new world, I also informed them that we would return in just over one of their solar years to collect their initial tribute payment. As per Galactic Conference Directive 102, Section D, subsection 8, I also informed them that failure to meet the required tribute would result in the forfeiture of one major city. Captain's Log. Galactic Year 23784.501. We have returned to the primitive planet known as Earth, where we were met with a salvo of primitive nuclear-armed chemical rockets. Our defensive weapons easily countered them. Such a first response to annexation has been seen before and was not completely unexpected. Following their attack, and as per Directive 102, Section G, subsection 11, a large centrally located city was targeted as a show of force. A single null matter bomb was detonated, disintegrating the city and surrounding area. Based on their own population reports, I estimate casualties to be approximately 2.5 to 4.5 million. After the deployment of the null matter bomb, I reiterated the particulars of Galactic Conference Directive 102 and informed them that we would return in one more solar cycle to collect their tribute, along with a late payment penalty. They were also informed that any further resistance would result in the loss of 2 cities, as well as a doubling of their required tribute for the next 20 solar cycles. Captain's Log. Galactic Year 237805.610. Once again, we have returned to the primitive world known as Earth. As expected, after our previous show of force, the inhabitants are more than ready to pay the required Galactic Conference tribute. Since they are a pre-FTL civilization, a series of cargo shuttles are being prepared for landing in order to collect their initial tribute. Considering the size of the required tribute from this world, it will require at least several trips to collect their full payment. This world promises to be a profitable addition to the Galactic Conference. Captain's Log. Galactic Year 2237805.700. With the addition of the tribute from the primitive world known as Earth, we now have a full cargo hold of materials to be returned to the Galactic Conference homeworld. As per our standing orders, we have set a course for home. Even though it will take us nearly 2 years to get there, I, for one, will be glad to see it again. Captain's Log. Galactic Year 23787.02. We have settled down for the long trip home. It has now been 62 sleep cycles since our last stop at the primitive world known as Earth. All ship functions are behaving normally and crew morale is the best I have seen in some time. No doubt the prospect of returning home to families after such a long deployment has everyone feeling good. Personal note. I seem to have misplaced my portable computer interface. I was sure I left it on my desk a few nights ago when I retired for the night, but could not find it the next morning. Perhaps I absent-mindedly placed it somewhere else. I am sure it will eventually turn up. Captain's Log. Galactic Year 2370807.106. The daily routine of long-distance FTL travel can become a little boring. Day after day of doing the same thing is an unfortunate consequence of deep space missions, but the prospect of returning home softens the drudgery. Even though we are not quite halfway through the final leg of our journey, it seems that I can almost see the faces of my family. I am sure the rest of the crew feels the same. The only thing out of the ordinary I have to report is that the chief engineer is also missing his portable computer interface. I never did find my missing unit and chalked it up to my own inattention. However, a few days ago, the chief engineer reported that his unit had also disappeared. Perhaps some crew member from a poorer family is endeavouring to supplement his income by selling the units when we get home. It is not unheard of for a conscripted crew member to have sticky fingers. I suppose we will simply have to search everyone's personal effects when we get home. No doubt we will find the missing units then, and reveal the identity of the thief. Captain's Log. Galactic Year 2378007.304. We have had a series of minor technical glitches in the last few days. At first, most of them did not even carry enough importance to warrant a log entry. But now, I'm not so sure. These technical glitches seem to be compounding. Most of the problems appear unrelated. yet they continue to happen. In light of this, I thought it best to make an official entry on the off chance that something more serious may be going on. Captain's Log. Galactic Year 2337807.317. Our technical glitches seem to be getting worse, and we still cannot ascertain a cause, or even how they could possibly be related. Some glitches are simple: an automatic door failing to open when required, a food dispenser providing the wrong meal when requested, but others are much more serious. Late last night, while most of the crew was sleeping, life support mysteriously and silently failed in a large portion of the enlisted crew quarters. Had it not been for the alertness of a junior engineer, I fear we could have lost thousands of crew members. Chief Engineer's Log. Galactic Year 2337807.322. Last night's life support failure was unlike anything I have ever encountered before. An atmospheric reprocessing pump appears to have gone offline and somehow caused a cascading failure that affected nearly a quarter of the ship. Such a chain reaction should not be possible, at least not without sounding alarms throughout the vessel. But somehow the failure progressed silently through the system without triggering a single warning. I was so certain that such an event was impossible that I informed the captain it must be the result of sabotage. However, as much as I search, I can find no evidence of tampering. As it stands, I can only assume there is something I have overlooked. Captain's Log. Galactic Year 2337807.323. The Chief Engineer's suggestion that we may have a saboteur aboard has rattled me. I can think of no time in the recorded history of the military of the Galactic Council where any member, officer or enlisted, has stooped so low as to commit such an act of treason. Considering that the Chief Engineer has been unable to offer any evidence, I must also consider the possibility that his imagination has been running away with him. Even so, I have ordered him to redouble his efforts to locate the true source of these malfunctions. Security Chief's Log. Galactic Year 2378007.414. 4 of my best lieutenants failed to report for duty this morning. A check of their quarters indicated that their beds had been slept in. Yet it is as though they disappeared into thin air during the night. I could explain 1 missing officer, perhaps even 2, but not 4. The men are talking. Some are worried. Some of the more superstitious have even suggested they were taken by evil spirits. Of course, I do not believe in such things, but I must admit I am at a loss to explain their disappearance. Captain's Log. Galactic Year 23787.513. Much to my relief, there have been no malfunctions for several days. However, we now have a new mystery on our hands. In addition to the disappearance of the 4 security officers reported a few days ago, several engineers are now missing. As with the security personnel, it appears that they vanished directly from their beds in the middle of the night. I am at a loss to explain their absence. I have ordered a full search of the ship from top to bottom. As of yet, no trace of the missing crew members has been found. The rumours and speculations surrounding their disappearance have the crew on edge. Captain's Log. Galactic Year 2378007.664. It has happened again. The life support system malfunctioned last night. This time, however, it was not discovered until it was too late. According to the Chief Engineer, one of the missing crew members had detected the first malfunction before it became catastrophic. Due to his absence, this one went unnoticed. We lost all 2,700 of our shock marines. Every one of them. They died in their sleep. What a horrible way for a warrior to die. I have ordered that section of the ship sealed off and depressurized in the hope that the vacuum and cold of space will preserve the bodies until they can receive an honorable burial on the homeworld. A failure of this magnitude would normally require the summary execution of the responsible engineer. Yet considering the events leading up to this tragedy, I am no longer certain who is responsible. In truth, I am no longer certain of anything. Perhaps the superstitious crew members are right after all. Perhaps we are cursed. Security Chief's Log. Galactic Year 2378077.01. More personnel are missing. This morning, 9 additional crew members failed to report for duty, 4 security officers, 5 engineers. As with the previous disappearances, it appears they simply dissolved into thin air during the night. Nerves are on edge. People are looking over their shoulders. In all my years of service, I have never encountered anything remotely like this. It has been suggested that no one sleep alone. Despite my reservations about such arrangements, I have agreed. Effective immediately, all senior security and engineering personnel will bunk 3 to a room. Chief Engineer's log. Galactic year 237807.751. I have no explanation. For days I have examined every system aboard this ship. I can find no reason for the failure that took the lives of so many of our people. I fully expected the captain to invoke General Order 19 and execute me for my failure. I am grateful he chose otherwise. But even now, I wonder if he made the correct decision. Since the life support failure, the smaller malfunctions have returned. Perhaps I am the failure. What else could explain my inability to identify the source of these seemingly random events? Captain's log. Galactic year 237807.788. We are becalmed. I borrow the language of the ancient seafarers because little else seems appropriate. During the night, our FTL drive went offline. We are more than 10 light-years from the nearest conference outpost, far beyond the normal travel lanes. Unless the chief engineer can diagnose and repair this latest malfunction, it could be years before we are rescued, if we are rescued at all. Chief Engineer's log. Galactic year 23378007.791. I finally have proof. It took days of troubleshooting and crawling through access tunnels and maintenance shafts, but I finally have proof that someone has been sabotaging us. Deep within the bowels of the FTL engines, I discovered that the energy flow distributors have been removed. Energy flow distributors are among the most reliable components ever designed. In all my years of service, I have never seen one require replacement. They are so dependable that they are not even monitored. There are no moving parts, no failure points. They are little more than pipes with holes in the correct locations. We do not even carry spares. I may attempt to fabricate replacements, but given the precision required, and given that most of my best technicians have vanished, I am less than optimistic. Captain's log. Galactic year 237807.792. Thanks to the chief engineer's discovery, we now know for a fact that we have a traitor aboard, a saboteur. Due to the expertise required to disable the FTL drive, it is clear that the perpetrator must be a member of the engineering crew. Never in the history of the Galactic Council has a crew member behaved in such a manner. We have yet to identify the culprit, whether one of the missing personnel or someone still among us. But when the saboteur is found, I shall conduct the execution personally. Security Chief's log. Galactic year 237807.794. As per the captain's orders, we continue to search the ship. My personnel are examining every access tunnel and mechanical conduit aboard the Indomitable. Yet given the size of the vessel and the tragic loss of our military force, the search will take days. Even so, I have no doubt we will uncover the culprit, and when we do, I will gladly watch the captain carry out justice. Still, one question continues to trouble me. I can understand how a determined saboteur might cause our technical failures, but how could a single individual be responsible for the disappearance of nearly 20 crew members? Security Chief's log. Galactic year 237807.796. 3 dead. I still cannot believe it. Following the captain's orders, security personnel were conducting a detailed search of the ship's mechanical spaces when they were attacked. The survivors were so traumatized and unnerved that it took hours to get anything coherent out of them. Even then, they spoke only of demons in the darkness. Whatever these demons are, they are unlike anything ever encountered before. As near as we can determine, they attack by surprise. In groups, they appear more at home in darkness than in light. They wield some form of weapon that spits metallic projectiles at tremendous velocity. Each discharge is accompanied by a deafening explosive sound that unnerves anyone nearby. When these projectiles strike flesh and bone, they tear through them as though they were tissue paper. One of my surviving officers had his arm torn completely from his body. For eons, it has been the law of every civilized race that weapons must either disable without lasting injury or kill outright. Weapons that maim, weapons that mutilate, weapons that leave their victims alive to suffer. Such devices have been outlawed throughout the galaxy for thousands of years. What barbaric race could have conceived of such a nightmare? I cannot even find volunteers willing to recover the bodies of the dead. Everyone is convinced that the moment they enter a dark conduit, they too will fall victim to these monsters. Captain's Log. Galactic Year 2337807.799. It is becoming increasingly difficult to maintain order aboard the ship. A junior engineering officer succeeded in creating reasonable replacements for the missing energy flow distributors. However, our attempt to install them ended in disaster. My chief engineer and 2 junior engineers entered the mechanical areas of the vessel to begin repairs. They were accompanied by 4 armed security personnel. The team reached the damaged section and began work. Then they were attacked. According to the survivors, it began with an explosion. A brilliant white flash filled the corridor. A concussion wave instantly disoriented everyone present. And then they came. Seemingly from the darkness itself, black-clad figures descending from hidden corners of the ship, their weapons spitting hot metal that tore through engineers and security personnel alike. 3 of the 4 security officers were killed almost immediately. By the time the survivors escaped, only 2 remained alive, my security chief and 1 junior engineer. The engineer now behaves like a terrified child. The security chief is recovering from severe wounds. Word of the attack spread quickly. Many among the crew have become convinced that these attackers are not living beings at all. More and more now believe that we have angered the gods, that these creatures are evil spirits sent to punish us. I do not know what I believe anymore, but I can say this. No one aboard this ship has ever encountered anything remotely like this. May the gods have mercy upon us. Captain's Log. Galactic Year 2378007.839. The mysterious attackers are growing bolder. Crew members continue to disappear. I ordered that no one be left alone. Even that has proven insufficient. Last night, 4 more crew members vanished. 2 from engineering, 2 from security. Effective immediately, all personnel are to travel in groups of 3. We remain adrift at sublight speeds. The replacement energy flow distributors were lost during the attack. The junior officer who fabricated them insists he can construct more. But what is the point? How can we install them if every attempt results in another ambush? We exist in little more than survival mode. Numerous distress calls have been transmitted. Given our position and condition, I hold little hope of rescue. I fear we have only one option left. We must confront these demons face to face. A junior security officer is attempting to assemble a team capable of taking the fight to them. But these are not soldiers, not marines, not warriors. If only our marines were still alive, perhaps then we would have a chance. Instead, it has become clear that their deaths were part of a carefully orchestrated plan. A plan designed to leave us defenseless. What kind of monsters fight by hiding in darkness, by assassinating sleeping victims, by striking unseen and vanishing into the shadows? Such tactics violate every civilized rule of war in the galaxy. Perhaps they truly are demons. Captain's Log. Galactic Year 2378007.902. My crew is disappearing before my very eyes. Despite our best efforts, these mysterious invaders continue to pick us off a few at a time. I cannot even begin to comprehend where they are taking the captives. Are they being held somewhere deep within the bowels of the ship? Are they being executed and their bodies discarded into space? I simply do not know. More than 100 crew members are now unaccounted for. It has become impossible to continue the normal operation of the vessel. The remaining personnel huddle together in groups, refusing to leave the security of the common areas. Fear has overwhelmed discipline. Military decorum has collapsed. Orders are obeyed reluctantly when they are obeyed at all. Most of our time is now spent avoiding the demons of the night. Galactic Year 223-78807.951. We have been divided. Last night we suffered a complete power failure. For several terrible minutes, it appeared that our ordeal had finally come to an end. Without power, suffocation would soon follow, and strangely, the knowledge that our tormentors would perish alongside us brought me some measure of comfort. But just when all hope seemed lost, power was restored. And with it came the realization of what had truly happened. The demons used the blackout as cover. While we cowered in darkness awaiting death, they were working. Methodically, deliberately, separating us from one another. Nearly 100 crew members are now trapped within the recreation section of the ship. The surrounding compartments have been exposed to vacuum. There is no safe route to reach them. Only limited food and water remain in that area. It is likely that most of those isolated personnel will die of starvation within days. Under normal circumstances, repairs would be straightforward. Life support could be restored. The damaged compartments could be reclaimed. But these are not normal circumstances. I now command fewer than 100 crew members, and most of them are too frightened to be of any practical use. Captain's Log. Galactic Year 2378007. Come to this. There are fewer than 20 of us left. We have sealed ourselves inside the main bridge. We pray that someone heard our distress calls, that someone is coming, that someone can save us. Yet even behind locked bulkheads, we still hear them, moving, scraping, crawling. It is as though they move within the very walls of the ship. What creature fights like this? What unspeakable horror lurks in darkness, patiently hunting innocent crew members? These invaders display intelligence, planning, problem-solving ability, yet they behave like predators, like rabid animals. I have called upon the gods for help, but I now believe even the gods themselves fear these creatures. No one is coming. No one can help us. Why did this happen? Why? I fear that death will be our only release. Captain's Log. Galactic Year 237808. I am no longer certain of the date. I am alone. For days the invaders kept us trapped on the bridge. Then finally, they attacked. A tremendous explosion breached the bridge bulkhead. For the first time, we found ourselves face to face with our attackers. They appeared roughly bipedal, bilaterally symmetrical. In form, they resembled many of the sapient races of the Galactic Conference, though somewhat smaller than average. Do not be deceived by their size. I certainly was. Clad entirely in black, equipped with devices that allow them to see in darkness, moving with terrifying speed and coordination. These creatures are a force unlike anything our civilization has ever encountered. During the confusion of the assault, I escaped through an air duct. I can scarcely believe what I have become. The captain of the largest high fleet ship in the Galactic Conference, reduced to crawling through ventilation shafts like an insect. Still, I will continue observing them. I will continue recording these logs, for as long as I am able. Captain's Log. Galactic Year 237 something. I no longer know. I no longer care. I have now spent days crawling through the ventilation ducts, days watching, listening, learning. I have learned much about the demons who took my ship. Most importantly, I finally learned where they came from. Earth. At first I could not believe it. How could they possibly have gotten aboard? We detected no ships, no docking attempts, no hull breaches. Their technology was far too primitive to bypass our security systems, or so we believed. It took several more days of observation before I uncovered the truth. They hid in the tribute. The tribute. What madman devises such a plan? What species willingly seals itself inside cargo containers and entrusts its survival to blind chance? Their chemically powered weapons produced no detectable emissions. No alarms were triggered. No scans revealed their presence. Even more incredible, there was no way for them to know whether our cargo holds were even pressurized. They accepted the possibility of death, the certainty of suffocation, the vacuum of space itself. And still they came. These humans. If they are willing to risk that, what else are they capable of? And once aboard, they waited, patiently, silently. They entered the ventilation shafts, these same shafts I now inhabit. They watched us, studied us, for months. They learned our strengths, our weaknesses, our routines, our habits, long before they ever struck. And when they finally moved against us, it was deliberate, calculated, cruel. The early malfunctions, the missing equipment, the disappearing personnel, all of it was designed to appear accidental, to lull us into complacency, to make us doubt ourselves. By the time we understood what was happening, it was already too late. What cursed world produces a species that fights this way? Captain's log. The date is no longer important. I have learned their plans, and they terrify me. The humans are restoring the Indomitable, system by system, compartment by compartment. They are progressing quickly, very quickly. I fear it will be only days before they possess complete control of the vessel. And when that happens, they intend to return to Earth. They intend to reverse engineer our technology. Then they intend to come for us. Dear gods, they are planning to attack the conference homeworld. They call it payback for Paris. I assume Paris was the city we destroyed. To them, our demonstration of force was not a warning, not a lesson, not discipline. It was a declaration of war. Although they paid the tribute upon our return, they began planning their revenge the moment we departed their system the first time. The more I learn about humans, the more I fear them. Civilized races wage war openly. Armies meet beneath the light of day. Battles are fought. The strongest prevails. That is the way of the galaxy. It has always been the way of the galaxy. But humans do not fight that way. They strike from shadows. They kill from hiding. They deceive. They infiltrate. They manipulate. They wait. Their schemes seem limitless. In honorable war, strength determines victory, but humans do not fight honorably. They have even developed technology specifically designed to enhance their deception, devices that allow them to see in total darkness. What species would even conceive of such a thing? What kind of mind chooses to begin a battle at night? But such is the threat we now face. May the gods preserve us all. Captain's log. The date does not matter. Last night I overheard the humans discussing their future plans. They know I'm still aboard. They know I am hiding. And now they are searching for me. It will only be a matter of time before they find me. They have repaired the ship. And even more disturbing, they have persuaded some of the captured crew members to assist them. As near as I can determine, many of these collaborators come from recently annexed worlds. Worlds that never truly accepted Galactic Conference rule. I warned my superiors, again and again. I warned them it was foolish to allow personnel from conquered worlds to serve in the fleet. But my concerns were dismissed as paranoia. Perhaps, if these logs are ever recovered, that policy will finally be reconsidered. Whatever the outcome, my days of freedom are nearly over, though calling this existence freedom would be generous. There is little freedom to be found in a ventilation shaft. Captain's final log. They have found my hiding place. I am surrounded. Within minutes, I will be a prisoner of the humans. Please, whoever receives this log, whoever hears these words, I implore you, do not underestimate these creatures who call themselves human. Do not doubt their capability. Do not doubt their resolve. I have no doubt whatsoever that any attempt to fight them directly will result in disaster on a scale beyond imagination. A few months ago, I would have laughed at anyone who suggested that the planet Earth could pose any meaningful threat to the Galactic Conference. But that was before I saw what they were capable of, before I watched them dismantle everything we believed to be true. Today, I finally learned how many humans were hidden inside the tribute we loaded on Earth. 17. Yes, only 17 humans boarded the Indomitable that day. 17. And those 17 humans conquered a Conference High Fleet vessel crewed by more than 3,200 personnel. More than 3,000 Galactic Conference crew members, killed, captured, or turned against us. By 17 primitive humans. Even now, having lived through it, I struggle to believe it myself. The facts are impossible, yet they remain facts. Now they possess the Indomitable, they possess our technology, and more importantly, they possess the ingenuity necessary to understand it, to duplicate it, to improve upon it. And they possess a mission. That mission is nothing less than the complete overthrow of the Galactic Conference. Given enough time, they will succeed. This is not a prediction. It is not a threat. It is a fact. If these logs reach the conference before the humans master our technology, then there is still hope. Only one hope. Earth must be destroyed. If any members of the Council are hearing this, do not take this warning lightly. After facing these humans, after witnessing what they are capable of, it is my estimation that only 3 or 4 cycles remain before they move beyond our ability to stop them. Please, please heed this warning. Forget the resources, forget the profits, forget the tribute. Glass the world called Earth. Do it immediately. It is a matter of survival. To shift suddenly. They are here. Glass this world. Glass it before it is too late. You may have only months. The marker beacon was buoy automated log. The log buoy was jettisoned at galactic year 2337808.231. The marker beacon was activated at galactic year 2378008.251. Activation delay executed according to instructions provided by the captain of the Indomitable. Editor's final note. As anyone hearing this report can plainly see, the log buoy was launched nearly 8 cycles ago. The captain stated that humanity would require our only 3 or 4 cycles before becoming unstoppable. If his assessment was correct, then we are already too late. In light of that possibility, I intend to tender my resignation at the end of my current duty shift. Tomorrow, I plan to board a colony ship bound for a remote world, as far from the Galactic Conference homeworld as possible. Perhaps I will take up farming. End of report.